Hey friends, it's Just the Gems. I'm Brandon. It's been quite a while since I've done a collection focused video. I mean, I've talked about games that I've picked up here and there, but I haven't sat down and really focused on one of the collections that I have behind me. So I figured, why don't we get back on track and talk about some of these games? Let's do it. Today I wanted to focus on the PlayStation 1. I couldn't remember, honestly, of the last 2 years of videos that I've made if I had done a collection specific PlayStation 1 specific video, and I didn't see one. I scanned all the way back to the very beginning to my embarrassing channel trailer, which I have hidden. I have hidden it from this channel. I don't know if I'm ever going to release it again. It's very embarrassing. Very poor. I guess if you ask me enough, maybe I will. If you're interested in seeing just the cringiest cringe that ever cringed, I might release it. But I don't know if my self-esteem can handle it, so we'll have to see. But anyway, I scanned all the way back. I didn't see a specific, PlayStation 1 focused collection video. So I want to do that now, if that's okay. And what I wanted to do, rather than just go through my entire collection, which would take a long time, it's it's relatively substantial, especially for the PlayStation 1. But what I wanted to do instead was focus specifically on the 10 most valuable games that I have in this collection. Now, this is not a video intended to inspire FOMO or encourage you to go out and spend a bunch of money on these games. I mean, I think pretty much without exception, well, maybe one exception, these are all great games and they're definitely worth having if you're a collector. But I don't want to encourage frivolous or thoughtless spending. This is not intended to ignite the flames of jealousy in your heart. It's just an opportunity for me to talk about some of these classic games with you, and for you to share with me down in the comments your thoughts on them, along with any other thoughts you might have about the PlayStation 1 era of JRPGs. I would love to have a conversation with you down there. So drop your thoughts below. I feel like I'm just completely out of sorts. I am a friggin' mess, and I've been in the car for 6 hours today, and I'm exhausted. But I really wanted to get this video out for you, and this is the tiniest little window of opportunity that I have to do it. So we're just gonna power through, and then we're gonna take a nap, and it's gonna feel great. Oh, before we dive in though, would you mind liking the video if you like it, if you enjoy the sorts of stuff that I do here on this channel? It really helps new people find the channel, and that would be just a wonderful treat if you would mind liking the video. And also, if you watch my videos and you haven't subscribed yet, if you would click subscribe just so that I make that number go up. I'm really hoping that, I don't know, I try not to set subscriber-based goals because that's not something that's really within my power to control as somebody who puts stuff on YouTube. But it would be awesome if I were able to hit 10,000 by the end of this calendar year. That would just be a wonderful end of the year treat for little old me. So if you consider subscribing, sharing the video with people who like JRPG related content, that would be marvelous. Also, I don't want to forget to mention this because, like I said, I'm very tired and it's likely that I will forget. We just started a brand new JRPG podcast called the JRPG Pursuit with a couple of my friends, and I would love it if you would check it out. It's on YouTube as well as on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere that you get podcasts. And so I'm going to link the first episode on YouTube down in the description below. So if you haven't already seen that, if you wouldn't mind, I'd love it if you check it out and tell me what you think. Okay, all of that preamble out of the way. Let's get to the games. Let's do it. Okay. All right. Wake up. First up, I guess number 10, because this is a top 10. Oh, we're going in ascending order from least valuable to most valuable. And even the least valuable is still fairly valuable here. So first up, we have Vagrant Story. Yes, Vagrant Story. The classic Matsu game? Did he write that? Matsuno? The tactics guy, right? In Final Fantasy Tactics and Final Fantasy 12, he was involved in those. Anyway, Vagrant Story, you probably are familiar with it, or you've at least heard of it, but it's a classic JRPG that I'm just absolutely terrible at. Yeah, I do not know how to adequately describe the frustration I felt when I tried playing this game. I've tried multiple times over the years because I really want to get into it. The vibes that it gives off is so cool. It's got this really intricate art style for a PlayStation 1 game. It's friggin' gorgeous. It's just everything is really polygonal and sharp angles and stuff because of the era, but the art direction, like they animate the faces on these textured faces, they animate them, and it's just like, wow, like this is incredible to look at. The story's really interesting. It's got this kind of dark Shakespearean sort of thing going on, just very cool stuff. And I cannot figure out how to play this game. Someone told me in a comment once, I don't remember what video this was, but basically if you can master the crafting system in Vagrant Story, then you can play Vagrant Story no problem. But therein lies the problem. This guy can't figure it out, game too hard, and I've abandoned it 2 or 3 times now over the course of my life. I just cannot get into it. Should I try again? Vagrant Story stands out there. Give me some encouragement. I get to that darn dragon every time, that, I don't know, Drake something or other, and I just can't. I can't beat it. I can't figure it out. Can't figure out the battle system. It's very complicated. So let me know if you think I should try again. Your encouragement might motivate me to pop this one back in the console and give it another go, or I might not, but you never know until you try. So thank you. But yeah, this one is reasonably expensive. I mean, we're talking, I realize I should have put the friggin' prices on these games, shouldn't I? I will pull up price charting. We'll pull it up. So this one is pretty darn expensive. This one comes in right now around $95 complete in box. That's nuts, right? Is this even complete? Oh, it is complete. Okay. It's complete, but it doesn't have the, there was like a bonus disc or a demo disc or something that originally came with the game. I don't have the demo disc, but it's manual, game, box. So I consider that complete. It's not technically complete, but $95 complete in box. I'm looking at my chart over here. Yeah, that's a pretty pricey game. A lot of money to spend to be just extremely frustrated. So that's what I did to myself today. What have you done to harm your psyche today? Anyway, I know that it's beloved by a lot of people, so I'm not trying to put it down. It's not it, it's me, right? I'm the one who sucks. Anyway, we got to move on. I could talk about how much I suck at Vagrant Story all day, but who's got time for that? Nobody. Let's go to number 9. Number 9 is a game that I've only played the tiniest bit of, and I think I've only ever played it on like the PlayStation Network. I haven't actually popped this disc into my PlayStation to play it, but it is Breath of Fire 4. Breath of Fire 4 is a very interesting looking game. I really like it's kind of got this like watercolor sort of aesthetic to it. It's like polygonal backgrounds and 2D characters, but everything is really kind of, watercolor is the only thing that comes to mind. I don't know if it's actually watercolor, but it's just very pretty, and I love the look of it. I have not ever really tried hardcore to sit down and play a Breath of Fire game. I've played bits of all of them, but I've never really committed to playing one. I don't know why that is. They are, I think, considered pretty classic JRPGs by most people that are, familiar with the genre. So what's my problem? What's my excuse? I don't know. But let me know down in the comments if you think this one is worth playing, if I should play any of the other ones first. I have them all, 1, 2, 3, 4, and Dragon Quarter. I have them all. I would like to eventually play through them all, but I'm sure it's not necessary to play them in order. I don't think they actually connect to each other, but is there one that you think I should play first? Should I play 3 first? I've heard really good things about 3. 2 I've heard really good things about, but the translation is like terrible on the Super Nintendo, so I don't know what to do about that, but yeah, let me know. Which Breath of Fire game should I play first? Breath of Fire 4 right now is coming in at $112 for a complete copy. That's right. That's a little much. It's just a CD. It's a CD. You could put Kenny Chesney on this. Like, it's just a CD. Why is it so much money? Were these rare? I don't think they were rare. Were they? I don't know. I feel like I see Breath of Fire 4 in game stores all the time. Like, is this an Earthbound situation where we've just kind of decided collectively that this game is going to be expensive? I don't know. We'll find out one day whether or not it's worth that $112, but that's what it's going for right now. Number 8, Lunar Silver Star Story Complete. And I know what you might be thinking, Brandon, that's not complete because that's just the jewel case. Well, don't worry, right? We got the big box. We got all the trinkets. We got all the toys and goodies that come in your average Working Designs PlayStation era game. Yes, Lunar Silver Star Story Complete was one of my most anticipated JRPGs when I was a teenager. Everything about it just screamed like a heartwarming and fun adventure, and it really, really delivered on all that. It had like music in it, and by music I mean like vocal songs. Like there were songs in English, like Working Designs translated and localized these songs into English. And like, you know, looking back on them today, are they corny as heck? Yes, they're just extremely corny.
In your dreams, magical thoughts, all things are real unless you dream they're not.
But I don't know, something about the songs in this game, just the music, the graphics, the cute little itty bitty baby sprites. I love those baby sprites. They're so cute, so chibi, so delightful. I just, the battle system is a lot of fun, where positioning means so much on the battle. Like, it's not a Final Fantasy situation where you hit attack and you can hit any enemy anywhere. You've got to kind of get into position, and that's that cool little little additional layer of complexity to the battles that was really neat. It's just a very cool, very fun game. It's also pretty expensive. It's $117. $117. Now, from what I can tell, I'm using price charting in case I wasn't clear about that. From what I can tell, that should be for everything. The whole kit and caboodle. You get your, oh, it's upside down. You get your book, your little Lunar Silver Star Story, hardback book, your map, your making of DVD or whatever, CD, I guess, not DVD. This is PlayStation. So that's, I mean, if you consider all of the stuff you're getting with the game for that price, it's maybe not terrible, but it is still pricey. However, I do think that it's worth it. It's a classic PlayStation 1 JRPG. So however you can play this, if you have not, I highly recommend you do so. All right, number 7, Tales of Destiny. That's right. Look at that dweeb. Let me see if I can make it look like my face. Hey guys, it's me, Stan, the Destiny boy, Destiny's child. Tales of Destiny is the sequel to Tales of Fantasia, the Super Nintendo, or Super Famicom, rather, classic, the beginning of the Tales of series. Tales of Fantasia was a really cool Super Nintendo game. Like, I think if it had come out over here when it was supposed to, back in the 90s, I think it would have blown my mind. Playing it as a 35-year-old man, I think, at the time when I played it, I was like, it was fine, but I was like, we've advanced a lot as gamers. We have more refined taste now, so it wasn't quite hitting for me. Tales of Destiny is not much better, in my opinion. It's not a ton better than the original Tales of Fantasia. I don't know, it's fine, but it was not the game that hooked me. Actually, the game that was released over here as Tales of Destiny 2, which is actually Tales of Eternia, that's the game that really made me into a fan of the Tales of series. Now, I know there's a lot of love in some corners for the original Tales of Destiny. No shade, no shade. I think it's great. I hope that I'm glad that you enjoy that. For me, it just didn't feel much better than Tales of Fantasia, which again was a game that I already was kind of lukewarm on. So at this moment, Tales of Destiny is going for around $129 US. Oh boy, $129. Unless you are a collector completionist and you need to have every PlayStation game or every PlayStation JRPG or every game in the Tales of series, I might advise you to not spend $129 on a game that, in my opinion, is just kind of mid. Like, it's okay, in my opinion. I don't know. I can't justify $129. When I got it, actually, when I bought it, I think it was 80. I want to say it was like 80 or 85 when I bought it several years ago. And that was too much. That, like, given the experience that I had with it, not being crazy about it, $80 was too much for it. So $129, forget it. But again, if you're a collector or a completionist, you need to have this game. That's what it's going for. So best of luck. Okay, where are we at? We're at number 6. What's number 6? It is 1,000 Arms. That sounds like too many arms. That's like, how many octopuses is that? So 1,000 divided by 8. Holy cow, that's 125 octopi. That's too many. As a guy that's not fond of things with a lot of arms or legs or whatever, not liking the image of 125 octopuses. Nope. No, thank you. But I'm joshing, of course. This is not a game about octopi. It is a JRPG dating sim. This is one of, if not the first, dating-esque game to come to America. I really am racking my brain to think if there was any other like explicitly dating sim type game that ever came over here before Thousand Arms. I'm blanking if there is one. I think this might be the first. I remember reading about it in magazines back then and hearing about the dating element, being like, that sounds unique. That sounds pretty cool. I never did play this as a kid. I completely missed the boat on it. I feel like I probably would have liked it a bit more if I played it when it was new. Having played it now and having spent as much as I spent on it, it did not really hold up for me, let's say. It's not, the battle system is interesting, and you have your main dude who's a spirit blacksmith, and he's got his gal pals that he's trying to romance, and they are the ones that power up his weapons, or are his weapons? I don't know. It's been a while since I popped this one in. But it's, it's pretty hokey. It's like, it's a game that doesn't take itself very seriously, which is nice, which is fun. But this was still in the kind of rough localization era of JRPGs. So it's not that I would say the localization is necessarily bad, especially for the time. I think it was pretty good. But it's a little on the cringe, corny, hokey side in a way that isn't the most fun for me. Like, I enjoy a little bit of cringe. I enjoy a little bit of hokiness and corniness. I'm a sentimental guy. What can I say? But there's some games, some properties that just take it a little too far, even for me. And that's kind of how I feel about this one. It's a grindy game, too. I mean, you're talking a classic PlayStation era JRPG, so you have to be willing to invest the time and the grind to fully experience a game like this. I don't know that I'm ever going to do that, because having played the 2 or 3 hours of it that I've played, it didn't do a lot to grab me and hold on with its 125 octopuses worth of arms. This one is like $138 right now. I want to say that's about what I spent on it. It was like 120 range, I believe, which is too much. It's too much for a game that I enjoyed as little as I enjoyed this one. So live and learn, but I really wanted to have it because I remembered being excited to play it when I was a kid, never getting a chance to. Finally living out my dream, my childhood dream, and realizing that it was not all it was cracked up to be. That's the quintessential experience of growing up. So I don't regret getting it, but I don't recommend it either. All right, number 5. Number 5 is Xenogears. That's right, Xenogears. If you watch this channel for a while, you probably know that I'm a giant Xeno fan. Anything that Takahashi does, I'm there for, but Xeno in particular, that whole series, your Gears, your Saga, your Blade, I'm all about it. I love his storytelling. It's so complex and intricate, and there's such a focus on the characters and their relationships, and it all started here with Xenogears. Xenogears, this is actually my original copy, and I don't know if it's going to focus on this, but you see there's some pretty hefty cracks in this case. This is my original copy of Xenogears, the first PlayStation game I bought when I was, 15, something like that. I love it. It's one of my all-time favorite games. It remains one of my favorites, and it's high on my wish list for games that I'd love to see get some kind of a remake, remaster, something. Bring Takahashi back in sort of a advisory role. Like, he's got enough on his plate over at Monolith Soft, right? He's making whatever new game he's making, if it's a Xeno or if it's something else. He's busy, but have him on board in an advisory role, Square Enix, and do a remake of this game. There's classically, a lot of you probably know, the second disc of this game, the second half of the game, not really half, but the final portion of the game on the second disc is really just almost like a slideshow of here's the characters talking, and then we have a dungeon, because they ran out of budget and they still had a lot more story to tell, and they didn't want to like hold off for a sequel that might never come. Like if the game wasn't successful, Takahashi was like, I need to tell this story, I need to get it done. So they crammed in the final third of the game into a really underwhelming package and put the game out. And if they could do a remake that made that part of the game as compelling as the first part of the game, I think it would be an all-timer, an absolute all-timer. So Square Enix, please, 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 please. Xenogears right now is $143 US. That's a pricey game. That's a pricey meatball, as they don't say that. Nobody says that. It's a pricey game though. It's so expensive. It is 100% worth having in your collection if you're a JRPG collector, if you're a JRPG lover. You don't need to own the game. I'm not saying you need to own it if you have another way of playing it. The PlayStation Network on the PS3 or Vita, you can download it. I don't know, that may be coming to an end soon if it hasn't already. I'm not clear on the status of it, but I think I have it on the PSN as well. You can play it there, my point. There's other ways that you might have heard about on the internet or elsewhere that you can play this game. I just recommend you play it any way you can. If you prefer to play it in a way that's not the PSN, I would just ask that you throw $8 at the PSN version. You don't have to download it, just buy it, so that Square Enix can see this continued appreciation for and love for this game, so that it further increases the chances that we get that remake. Please. Thank you. Oh boy, we're up to number 4. Number 4 is Alundra. Is anybody surprised to see multiple Working Designs games in this list? You shouldn't be. Working Designs, man, they did some really great games, fantastic packaging, incredibly low print runs, just so low. And I get it, you know, they knew even at the time these were niche titles and they weren't going to sell 1 million copies, but it really hurts the wallet when you want to pick up a complete Working Designs collection, and that's something I really would love to have, but I don't know how likely it is. Anyway, Alundra, let's talk about it. Alundra is sort of an action RPG in the vein of like a Terranigma maybe, or Illusions of Gaia if you haven't played Terranigma. Alundra, he comes to this island and all of the people are having horrible nightmares, and he's able to somehow go into their dreams and rescue them from their nightmares. And I am not very far into this one yet. I have started it though, so props to me, you know, pat myself on the back for picking up a game and actually playing it, a classic role-playing game that I missed out on when I was a kid. And it is pretty cool. It's not the most fun factor I've ever had in a game. It's a little, you know, it's clunky, it's a little old and clunky, and it's a PlayStation 1 action RPG. It's not gonna be as amazing as something that's modern, right? Like, game development's just come a long way since back then. But it's a fun game, it's pretty cool, and I'm eager to see where it goes. I have been kind of working on a video related to Alundra for a while now, just because I think it's a cool kind of old oddity, and I want to bring it to more people's attention. I mean, I'm sure if you're a JRPG fan, you've heard of Alundra, but I'm curious how many people have actually played it. Let me know in the comments if you've played Alundra, what you think about it, because I just have gotten the impression that it wasn't super widely played. Like, I know it's kind of beloved as a classic Working Designs game over here in America, but I don't know how widespread it was. So let me know. All right. Alundra is like almost $150 right now. $149, I think, technically. It's so expensive. I was holding out to find a cheaper copy. I didn't spend $149 on it, I don't think. I think it was, or was it more than that? No, it was more than that. I spent $200 on this game, and it's gone. I don't know if it's gone down as much as that. I think I overpaid. Doesn't matter. The point is, I really wanted to make sure I got a copy of the game that had the map, because, you know, Working Designs, they put cool stuff in their games all the time, and I was like, it's got a map. You know, I got to get that map. Well, I get the game home and I open it up, and the map is this, just a slightly nicer than printer paper that's printed on. I don't know. It's not, you don't need the map is what I'm getting at. Unless you're like a hardcore collector, probably could do without the map. If it saves you a few bucks, and I think it would, yeah, go for it. You don't need the map. Anyway, what are we up to? We're up to number 3. Number 3. Yes, it's another Working Designs game. It is Ark the Lad, the collection. And of course I have the big box here as well. Good old Ark the Lad. Yeah, Ark the Lad was one that when the PlayStation was kind of just coming out or about to come out, I remember seeing screenshots of Ark the Lad in gaming magazines and being like, wow. Like, I wasn't one that needed 3D, especially for JRPGs. Like, I was, enamored with Mario 64 like everybody was back then. But to me, seeing that just the beautiful backgrounds and the sprites and just everything looked so cool, and it was kind of dark and gritty looking, and I was like, oh, that's going to be awesome. I can't wait until that comes out. And then Sony was like, we don't want to put 2D games on our system. Nobody's going to want to play a 2D game. Those are for babies. Only babies play 2D games. Give us those sweet 3D polygons, please. And that was kind of their policy for a while, was no 2D games. And that's so dumb. So dumb. Sony has made some bad choices over the years. They seem to kind of go in waves. They have good periods and they have bad periods. And for every PlayStation 2, they have a PlayStation 3. For every Shuhei Yoshida, they have a Jim Ryan. And it's a problem. I wish that they could right the ship and just... Anyway, I don't want to get into a Sony rant. It's not about that. This is about expensive JRPGs in my PlayStation 1 collection. So let's talk about Ark the Lad. I don't have a ton to say about it. To finish the story, Sony didn't want to put this out. Eventually, near the end of the PlayStation's lifespan, I believe, Working Designs put out all of the games, Ark the Lad 1, 2, and 3, and Arena, I want to say. It was like sort of a bonus game or something. Put them all out in this package and sent it out into the world, and I was so excited because, like I said, I really wanted to play it when I saw it in magazines before it came out in Japan even, and was disappointed that it never came over. Really wanted to play it. I know that I played Ark the Lad 1 in its entirety, and that game is super short, like 6-8 hours. Like, it's a real shorty. But Ark the Lad 2 is like where it gets good. For some reason, I remember starting Ark the Lad 2, being very into it, and then stopping. It might be because I was like right around when I was about to go to college, now that I think about it. I'm pretty old. Anyway, so I think that's why I put it aside, never came back to it. So I would like to eventually get around to tackling the Ark the Lad games and start from the beginning and just play through them all. I have the PlayStation 2 Ark the Lad games as well, so maybe I'll do one of my big series tackling adventures like I've done with like the Tales of and recently with Trails, and just go through an entire series in one long sitting. We'll see. Ark the Lad collection is around $167 complete right now. That is yet another pricey game. Is it worth it? I don't know. It was worth it to me to have it because I really wanted to be able to give myself a chance to finally play through them in their entirety, the chance that I deprived myself of when I was younger. So, all right. Number 2, Eternal Blue. That's right. Lunar 2 is my second most valuable PlayStation game. This one it's an even bigger box, you guys. It's a thick boy. It's just such a thick little boy. Real chonker. And it is yet again, it's a Working Designs package. It's, amazing. Lunar 2 was everything Lunar 1 was times 10. It was a much longer game, as I recall. It was probably at least twice as long as Lunar 1, and just more colorful, better animations. Like, they did even more anime cutscenes in the second one than they did in the first. Higher quality. Everything was just so good. It was just such a cool game. As great as Lunar 1 is, if you only were able to play one Lunar game, 2 is the best one. They've remade Lunar 1 like 15 times. They've only remade Lunar 2 just this once on the PlayStation. It was originally a Sega CD game, in case you're not aware. Lunar 1 and 2 were Sega CD games that they remade for the PlayStation. Lunar 2 on the PlayStation. Best one, not even close. Fantastic game. Check it out if you can. If you don't want to buy it, I would not blame you, because it's $178 complete right now. That's too much. That's too much money for any game. Too much money. I get it. But if you are a collector and you're able to get one in good shape, like, it's just a beautiful package. Like, everything that comes in here, right? What have you got? You've got this CD, right? You got your soundtrack, okay? You got your little hardback book again, your little Lunar 2 Eternal Blue book friend. And then you've got this Omake box? I don't honestly know exactly what that means. It says Omake box on it. And it's got like this map in here. It's that crappy map. It's not the cloth map like Lunar 1 had. It's got this big heavy pendant thing in here, which I don't, I could display this somewhere, I guess, but I have limited shelf space. And a bunch of like little standees that are still sealed in here. I almost don't want to take them out because that's great. But lots of fun little things, and they really outdid themselves. There is a Galleon, who's like one of the characters in the series. There's a Galleon like little punching puppet. I don't know if that was like a pre-order. That might have been like a pre-order bonus or something. I never had the Galleon punching puppet, and I regret not getting it. Let me know if you have the Galleon punching puppet and if it was worth it, and if I should be jealous. I probably will be anyway. Lunar 2, great game. Check it out however you can. Okay, we are down to the final game, the most expensive game in my PlayStation 1 collection. It's a whopping, how much is it? It is $274. So we're talking a jump of about $100 from my second most expensive game to this game. So $274 for this game. That's a lot. We're talking almost three solid bills for this game. Too much money. And we're talking, of course, about Kudelka. Now, if you are a fan of the Shadow Hearts games on PlayStation 2, then you absolutely should play Kudelka, okay? Kudelka is the precursor to the Shadow Hearts series. Characters from Kudelka show up in the Shadow Hearts games. It is essentially the prequel to Shadow Hearts, and it's a very, very, very cool concept. I played it in its entirety, so it's not, so it's not like one that I just checked out for 5 minutes and put aside. I did play through this entire game. It's not the longest game either. It's maybe 10, 12 hours. But it's sort of like if Resident Evil was a JRPG, okay? You've got your polygonal character walking around on pre-rendered backdrops, just like you would in a Resident Evil game or, Dino Crisis or one of those, PlayStation 1 era action survival horror type games. You're walking around a scary European castle at night. Like it's a creepy game. It's supposed to be creepy, but it has random battles. Okay, so we're talking about random turn-based combat in this survival horror third-person game. Very strange, right? Very odd stuff going on here, but it's such a cool concept. Where the game kind of flails a little bit for me is in the combat itself. It's very slow. There's a lot of load times going into battles. The battles themselves play out at a snail's pace. It's, if you don't have a lot of patience, you're probably not going to have a good time with Kudelka. It is one of the coolest presentations of a story on the PlayStation 1 that I've seen. It even outdoes some like PS2 games in terms of how the story is presented. There are these scenes in Kudelka where it's clear they had two motion captured actors just performing the scene, kind of like you see now in games like The Last of Us or a lot of modern games, right, where they've got motion captured actors that are performing whole scenes and then they put that in the game. Like they did that. They just had these long, like complete scenes that the actors are, it feels to me like they're clearly acting together, that they are together in the same room performing the scene together, because you don't have that sometimes awkwardness that comes when everybody's recording their lines separately. It's such a cool presentation. Now, is it the best performances in history? No, I mean, it's fine. It's really good for the time. It wouldn't necessarily hold up 100% today, but for the time especially, it was just amazing. And even then, like looking at it, the production values on this game were high. It's a very cool experience. Is it almost $300 experience? Probably not. I can't think of a single game that's like a $300 experience. My favorite game is Chrono Trigger. That goes for around the same amount on the Super Nintendo. I wouldn't say that don't spend $300 on Chrono Trigger. As much as I love it, don't do that. Buy it on Steam or something. You know what I mean? Like, there's other ways to play a lot of these games. Legit ways, like the ways that actually compensate the companies that own the properties. And I think you should do that. You should support the companies whose games you enjoy, because that's the only way that they're going to make more games for us to enjoy. Support those games, support those developers, support those publishers who are taking chances on some of these games that are maybe a long shot. Like, I can't imagine Kudelka was an easy sell to publishers at the time. Like, you know, it seems like a very strange idea, but it's a really cool experience. If you have a chance to check it out, I recommend that you at least check it out, see if you like it, if you can stomach the kind of slow-paced battles. It's a really cool story, gothic horror sort of deal, and I would say it's very highly recommended if you can stomach the downsides that I mentioned. There's an honorable mention here that I wanted to point out. I didn't include it because technically I'm borrowing this game. I'm borrowing it from my brother, but then again, I mean, he did just recently give me all of his other PlayStation 1 games, like, you know, just gave them to me. So I guess technically I could say that this is mine. I'm talking about Tales of Destiny 2, which is the one I mentioned as the game that really got me into the series. So this is just a bonus. This would actually be number 2 on the list if I had included it in the chronology. It is $220. $220 complete in box. That's a pricey game too. Again, is it worth it? No, of course not. Like, it's silly. This game retailed for $50, I'm sure. Very worth $50. Worth playing for sure. However you can get your hands on it, I recommend you check it out if you are a fan of action RPGs and the Tales of series, if you want to kind of see the roots. And I guess where I would argue the roots started to really get good, like really started to take hold and produce content that was appealing to me as a modern gamer even, right? Like, I was coming at the early Tales of games as a modern gamer and was, kind of underwhelmed by the first couple entries. But Tales of Eternia, Tales of Destiny 2 in America really kind of worked for me even as a modern gamer. So definitely worth checking out. Very expensive game. That's it. Those are the 10 most expensive games in my PlayStation 1 collection. What'd you think? Also, let me know what your most expensive games are down in the comments. Make me jealous. It's fine. I don't mind. I want you to do it. I want you to make me jealous. Make me feel that horrible sting hurt me. As usual, thank you for watching, for tuning into me like incoherently rambling for almost an hour. I don't know, I'm sure I'm gonna cut this video down, but looking at my recording time, it's like almost an hour. I'm just rambling. I'm exhausted. Work trip today took me way down. It doesn't matter. The point is I'm exhausted and I'm a mess. I'm just like, I think this is an undershirt. It's just a white t-shirt. Normally I try to take better care of myself, but I'm tired. So thank you for coming along on the rambling ride with me. I really appreciate it. Once again, if you would like the video, if you would subscribe if you're not, check out the podcast, the JRPG Pursuit, linked in the description. It's our new weekly podcast where we talk all about everything to do with JRPGs. If you want to hear me and some really cool people that know their stuff talk about JRPGs on a weekly basis, please subscribe to us. We would really, really appreciate it. Also, if you are going to be at PAX West at the end of August, this is August 2024 when I'm recording this. If you're going to be at PAX West at the end of August, I'm going to be co-hosting a panel on storytelling in JRPGs in cooperation with NIS America. So if you're going to be there, I would love to see you. Come out, say hi. If you're not able to be there, they are planning to live stream the panel and it should be available online in perpetuity after that. So you can check it out whenever you can. If you're able to make it, I would love to meet you. Come out. Let's chat. Why not? All right. I need to go take a nap or I don't know, have a drink, something. Until next time.